Good evening. I am here to drop in with you all, having a look at the new moon that came in today in the sign of Libra, along with the solar eclipse. This is kicking off a brand new lunar cycle for us, and it's a pretty loaded one. There's a lot of energy with this new moon, a lot of energy that can really act as a vehicle to carry us forward. And so I thought I would just drop in for live and go over it with you all, just kind of highlight the energies in play and do a little collective read, a little talk in tarot, and see how these energies are playing out in our lives. Interesting. I got something popping up in the deck here upright as I'm shuffling. We got the 9 of Wands. I think a lot of the collective is kind of in this space right now, taking a wait and see approach. In our personal lives, we also feel like a little tattered around the edges, right? A little worse for the wear. You know, a lot of us have been trying to keep strong and sort of deal with one thing after another kind of coming our way. This is certainly happening in our personal lives, but it's also happening on a collective level. We know that there's more ahead. We know there's more work to be done. And at the same time, I've been talking to so many people that just sort of feel like, I'm tired, boss, you know, I'm tired, boss, but we are being asked to really shore up our support, do what we need to do so we can set things in motion and be a part of the change we want to see in the world. The energy is going to amplify, the energy is going to quicken, the energy is going to pick up the pace, and there's just no way around it. We're in a very active cycle at this time. This is not a cycle that's about resting on your laurels. It's not a cycle for just kind of sitting around being an observer either. You're being asked to participate. You're being asked to involve. Of course, this is happening individually. It's happening in your own life. It's in your own healing process. It's also in any kind of interactions you're having with others, any work you're doing out in the world, and the way this bumps up against other people and their stuff and their positions, okay? So there's a lot that we're being asked to rise to the challenge of, and this energy is very much about saddling up and leading the charge in your own way in your life, you know, taking your personal accountability. And what does that look like for you to lead? What is the charge that you have that you want to bring forward? The charge from your soul's calling, you know, what's lighting you up? What do you feel like you can no longer just brush aside, but you need to stand for something? You have something to say, something to communicate. That has everything to do with this energy. Big karmic balancing coming in here, okay? This is the closing of a very significant karmic cycle. I'm going to go ahead and activate comments here. Hello, welcome. We're going to just dive right into the energy. I'm going to do a little astrology talk with all of you to let you know the energy's in play. And as I do that, I'm going to go ahead and look at the cards. Let the tarot weigh in. I'm using this glow-in-the-dark tarot because I feel it's very fitting for the energy in play. We just closed up a major lunar cycle, right, with the eclipses. And that was really brought to a closure through the supermoons that we had, the 4 supermoons that were back-to-back that got kicked off beginning on July 3rd and really culminated with the supermoon in Aries that occurred on the 29th of September. Well, now we got to deal with the solar eclipse action, okay? So we got this solar eclipse energy that's being kicked off here. We know that anytime there's eclipse energy in the mix, that we're entering a cycle where we don't have all the pieces to the puzzle. We don't have the lay of the land. There's a lot that still remains to be seen. And so as we move through this cycle, even as things are kind of simultaneously coming to light, what we couldn't see before emotionally, within the realm of our own feelings about things, our own perceptions about things, what resonated for us, what didn't resonate for us, and also within the scope of our relationships, not just romantically, but our relationships to everything, to all of life, to the work we're doing, to the type of friendships we have, to how we're investing our time and energy. All of that has started to become a lot more clear, right? With the moving on away from that lunar eclipse energy, we were finally able to see what was hiding out from us under the moon's shadows and start to bring that into the light. We started to raise up all that energy that was sort of buried in the south node when we had the previous cycle with the nodes of destiny, when Scorpio was in the south node position and Taurus was in the north node. And we've been through a big process with this, but now we're in this place of real karmic balancing where we're being asked to close these old cycles, to actually act on that shadow information that illuminated certain things to us, brought certain things into conscious awareness. We can't just sit on this emotional information anymore. We're now being asked to use it in a way that really fuels our convictions and informs how we're going to act, how we're going to move forward in the future. It's very significant. Libra in the South Node, of course, so Libra really has a lot of action going on right now. It is Libra season. I'm a Libra. I just had my birthday yesterday on Friday the 13th. I was born on a Friday the 13th, so it was a very full circle movement for me. And I feel like I am being called, I'm being called to the mat. I'm being called to lead the charge in my own life and in my own way. And how that's going to be expressed through each of us is different, but it has everything to do with where we've been and where we wish to go, and not just on an individualistic level, but really thinking about that collectively in terms of the bigger picture. So today we have the new moon in Libra, and it is an annular solar eclipse, and it has a very specific aspect of green King-6 aspect to Uranus. So we know that there's this energy in play where anything can happen. Anytime Uranus is in the mix, the unpredictable is on the scene, okay? But with this green King-6 aspect, it's actually kind of a beneficial influence. It means that we can have a sudden bolt of lightning come in, and it's a tower of sorts, yes, indeed, but not destructive in this case. It's more illuminating. It may rock your world. It may shock you. It may surprise you. It may take you back. This can look like a flash of inspiration, illumination. Oh my God, aha, I got it. Like I finally see what's been clogging the channels here. Look at this, judgment. I now see what's been clogging the channels with the judgment to the 7 of Wands on the split of the deck. Now, this may be something that you feel like this is worth fighting for. This is worth taking a stand for. I'm willing to lead the charge for this, even if what I'm feeling, this vision I have, this new inspiration for moving forward, maybe not everybody will agree with what comes through for you. But at the end of the day, you know that it's your truth and it's something you have conviction in, okay? This is the type of experiences we can have at this time where a bolt comes in out of the blue, and suddenly not only is our own internal landscape shifted, but the way we view moving forward, our options, our choices, how we show up in the world goes through a big trajectory shift as well. It's a very positive energy. It's an energy that encourages us to be open-minded, to not get too stuck or rooted in our personal views or our personal biases. And in fact, this energy is very revolutionary in nature, little r revolutionary, focusing on the evolutionary aspect of it, where you're really being asked to move beyond dogmatic thinking and these polarized points of view, to instead look at what is the connecting points. And there always is a connecting point, but there's this big key in moving forward, and that key is that we can't be too fixed in our positions. We need to move out of a fixed position. We need to open our minds, and in order to open our minds, we have to invite in this spirit of exploration. And it is the wave of the future that we're all riding, whether we ride it with ease and we're hanging loose and we're hanging 10, or whether we get caught in the undertow and get tumbled around a bit before we finally come up for air and realize, maybe I can't fight this wave of change, because you can't. It's big tidal wave energy. It's big tsunami energy. It's a big wake-up call. It's birthing pains, but it's also liberating at the same time, okay? So the energy is shifting a bit, and you're meant to tap into that optimistic, like, surge of empowerment side of it. You're not meant to feel overcome by it, but more feel inspired to rise to the challenge. That's the energy in play. What comes forward at this time that might be really outside of the box for you opens up a whole new view. Leadership in this cycle comes through in the form of that which is all inclusive, okay? It's not about, I'm aboard, pull up the ladder. It's not about taking all the spoils for yourself. Hello, Vicky. It's great to see you. I'm bringing you in, just bringing everybody in as they come in. I like to bring in your voices. Okay, thank you for dropping in with me. I was really spontaneously inspired to do this, and I've been more inspired to just like, let's just do it, you know, let's just dive into the live here. And I got this live broadcasting not only to Broadcoven, but my new channel, Parlor Tricks, which I put up a link to on my community board here at Broadcoven. It's going to be really about this, like feeding this vision for the future. How can we come to some solutions? How can we think outside the box? How can we look at things in a new way? How can we shake things up? You know, revolution can be a very creative process, okay? It's all about how we work with the energy. And we're really meant to get inspired at this time, to get lit up, to get activated in the very best way. This green King 6 Uranus energy with this new moon, it builds excitement, you know? It's like finally you feel like, wait a minute, I feel like engaged with my life again. I feel like I have a purpose. I feel like I have a passion. I have a voice and it wants to say something. I feel compelled to get involved. I don't want to sit on the sidelines anymore. It's like that point when something comes in that cracks you open and all of a sudden the light comes pouring through, and it's that light that causes the road before you to rise up to meet you. Now you're cooking. Now you got somewhere to go. You got like your orders, you know. We are dealing with Pluto forward in Capricorn, okay? It went direct just the other day. This energy is going to be with us throughout the remainder of this year. We will have that Pluto continue its forward motion, leading the charge, okay, into Aquarius near the end of January 2024. And then it's going to be with us for the long haul, because then we're entering the birthing pain cycles, the birthing pains of really forging a new way forward, leading that charge into the dawning of the age of Aquarius. But we know with the age of Aquarius on the scene, like there's reason to feel optimistic. And there's so much creativity that wants to come forward. That is what this revolution is all about. It's creative solutions. It's new, imaginative, innovative ways of viewing things. It's utilizing these tools, these resources that we have at our disposal that we often take for granted, like the World Wide Web, like social media, okay? Technology can be used to empower, or it can be used to disempower, all right? And so you're really being asked to look at this piece. How am I using technology? What is my relationship with technology? What is my relationship to social media? What content do I take in, and what am I contributing to the algorithm, all right? We've talked about this a lot on Broadcoven. It's certainly something I'll be bringing in more and more on Parlor Tricks as well. How can we hack the algorithm? And when I'm talking about hacking the algorithm, I'm not talking about technological warfare. I'm talking about hacking it with your consciousness and your contribution. How are you sharing your voice? What are you bringing forward? What do you subscribe to? What do you endorse in an online format? It makes a big difference. And are you just engaging online? Have you begun to live all of your life virtually? Or are you using the online format as a way to throw your hat in the ring, bring your piece forward, contribute something that is progressive to actually moving us all forward? Or are you letting it be sort of like a crutch and a way to sort of stay in a fantasy land and not connected with what's really going down out there? Because we got to face it. I mean, anytime when we have this energy where we're about to move into the dawning of an age of Aquarius, we have to look at the converse side of that, which means there's certain things we need to overcome. We don't get called to revolution for any reason that's just sort of like, you know, a side thought here. It's like, no, there's a real need here that we look at things in a new way, that we do things in a new way. This is all about entering a quest for solutions, and that's what's kicking off for you with this lunar cycle, okay, with this new moon in Libra that's coming in with that annular solar eclipse. There's certain things that you're going to uncover, all right? You can't see them right now. It's perfect that this solar eclipse energy comes in here, right here. You know what this moment is like right here, right now? When we're at new moon, it's dark moon. That means there's not even a sliver of light that can be seen. You all just came out of this supermoon series where there was a lot of the subconscious got highlighted for you, right? And you were starting to see things that you couldn't see before, maybe understanding hidden motivations, maybe understanding ways that you sabotage yourself, kept yourself held back, ways that a hidden narrative that wasn't conscious before suddenly came to the forefront of your consciousness, and you realized, oh my gosh, I've been in this Seven of Swords energy and I've been doing it to myself. And it's because I wasn't aware of what was operating all of my drives. Well, now I got a clue. Okay, so you start to understand things more, not only about yourself, but also the world around you, how you're interacting in your relationships, what's going on in your love unions, what kind of work you're doing, whether that really feeds your soul, whether it's really sustainable. And as these things have come to light, it's been a lot to kind of absorb, integrate, work through, and synthesize emotionally. And now you're at this place where you're like, okay, now I know all this, but now what? Like, how do I move forward with this? And that's where you're at right now. Okay, today you're in this space that the dark moon is like, okay, I know something's coming. I know you all feel this. I know you've been feeling it. You feel it. You know, like everything's about to change. And yet you don't know what is that direction I'm heading in. What is the first step? I got some ideas, but nothing's real tangible or rooted yet. It will be. Consider this moment right now when we have this solar eclipse, okay, coming in with new moon. So we're talking about the light is totally blotted out right now. Now you're in the waiting room. It's this pregnant pause. It's just a little breath, though. I'm telling you, it's just a little breath. It's not like a pause that's going to just move into this realm of stagnation. Okay, you're not meant to stay stuck here. This is almost like a pause of reverence, like, okay, I feel the magnitude of this moment. This is a big trajectory shift. This is the moment that we move out of the crossroads and we really start actualizing the solution, not only in our lives, but globally. This is when we start to really look at what has been the dividing lines, where we've been polarized and driven further apart. Now we're going to figure out the light's going to shine forward tomorrow once that light returns, because that's what happens after the new moon, dark moon. Now we start to head into the waxing phase, all right? So what you couldn't see before from all that subconscious material that you stirred up, all that stuff from the root cellar that you brought up to your conscious awareness, and oh my gosh, you know, you had some towers, right? Some of you had towers in your day-to-day reality, like the very structure of your life got disrupted. You lost your job, you left a job, you left a relationship, you got in a new relationship, you know, you moved, you left your home and you don't even know where you're going to land yet. Okay, everybody has a different story in the way that it's playing out for them. But at the end of the day, it's all the same trip. And I will be doing a series where we go into each astrological sign. You're all going to get your individual reads for this cycle. Okay, we will be kicking that off with Libra because it is Libra's solar return. That's the way we always do it here. And we'll go forward from there with all the natural flow of the zodiac. All right, you're all going to get this. I'm going to make sure you all get your individual reads for your each individual sign, so you can really kind of navigate this territory. But this is going to be a collective read tonight, and we're just going to look at the astrology. Do look for those readings to start to roll out next week. Okay, I'll start to dive into the individual reads, and I'll make sure I get a good chunk of them done next week so we can really get cooking. I do want to move with the progression of this energy. I am going to be a lot more active with lives and just really getting things moving and cooking in my own, you know, realm and the way I'm contributing to this forward momentum. And as I've been called to sort of like rise to the challenge, and what that looks like is going to be different for all of us. But one thing is for certain, we're all in this together. We all have a part to play. There's nobody that's like immune from this. Like, we're all in this together, and we all have something to contribute to this forward movement in our own lives, but also in the lives of our loved ones that we share experience with, and in the lives of our community, okay? And beyond that, globally, all right? It's really powerful. This is a potent time. Is it challenging? Are there things to overcome? Absolutely. All right. And that is part of this cycle as well, because we recently had that Pluto go direct into Capricorn. When we're looking at Pluto direct in Capricorn, not only are we being asked to kind of rise to the challenge, we got to look at the nuts and bolts. We have to start really making a game plan. How am I going to have the energy output I need to forge this new way forward? What do I need to have in place to give stability to this forward momentum? Well, I need to take care of my body, right? I need to take care of my health. I need to be organized. I need to have a focus. I need to have a vision. I need to set up my schedule and my life so it supports this without depleting me. Okay, so this is all kind of that energy of personal responsibility that comes with Pluto direct in Capricorn. And this is the cycle we're kicking off now with this new moon. So, you know, with the solar eclipse right now, you may not know the way forward, but this is the way to begin. The way to begin is to look at yourself and look at what you know has tripped you up in the past. And you know this by now because you've already had it illuminated for you with the towers that came in. Yep. Look at this. No more sitting around. Okay. No more sitting around feeling disappointed because the things you wanted didn't turn out the way you wanted them to. And even though Spirit has given you this invitation and said, hey, you know, I've got a way forward for you, that it begins with you, you know. You got to stop focusing on this outside stuff. You got to look at yourself, and you can't sit here and feel sorry for yourself because nobody's got time for it right now. We just don't. We need to get moving and we need to get cooking. And I know everybody's tired, right? We hear it. I'm tired. I know you're tired. I know everybody I've been talking to is like, I'm just tired. It's been a lot the past few years. And, you know, when you got Capricorn in the mix, you got Saturn in the mix, and Saturn's like, yeah, I get it. You're tired, and put your boots on. It's time to get to work. You got to be committed to the long haul, man. You got to have a sense of commitment. You got to be willing to do the work. Yep, it's a long, hard road, but it leads to great reward. And we only get there one way. Got to keep putting one foot in front of the other, laying one brick down at a time to forge that new way forward, okay? So we're being asked to do that first on the individual level. It starts there, right? But as it begins there, soon it spirals out, and then it has a greater effect on the whole. It's the same symbolism we've been talking about forever here at Broad Coven, where it's like one person lights their fire, right? And we can do that imagery of like a community gathered in circle and vigil, right? Calling in this light, calling in this new way forward. You do that sometimes in these gatherings, right? You all have a candle, and it usually begins with one person lights their candle, and they use their candle to light the person's candle next to them, and so on, until soon you have this circle of light, you know, holding this space of illumination around a common vision. And that's exactly the way that this is going to happen. Creativity is a big part of it. Imagination, innovation, doing things in a new way, really unraveling the belief constructs. We need to do so much unlearning right now because we've been programmed. And one of the major ways we've been programmed is by our online experience, correct? It's all been through the algorithm. So there's this important piece, you know, about really getting in touch with how can I shift the algorithm? Because we can certainly do that just by how we participate in the online arena and what we bring forward. So this is the energy. Look, it brings that Aquarian energy in. Here we go. We got the star. We know that eventually, as we cleanse away the past, as we start to look at things in a new way, and I love this, looking into this pool of water, it reminds me of Narcissus, you know, and sort of like sometimes we can get so focused on, well, this is what's going on with me, this is what I'm feeling, that we could get too socked into our individual needs, and we forget that we're all connected to source and we're all in this together. So this is about self-reflection that leads to building a light that considers the benefit of the whole, the benefit of the community. And there is some star that's going to appear in this cycle for you. There's going to be something that comes through. that really inspires you. It looks different for everybody, but it's going to be like your guiding light through this time of uncertainty. And that star is going to align you with your North Star. It's going to be that thing that moves you into that Aries North Node energy where you finally feel like, now I can take some initiative. I can actually raise that wand. I can take that action, and you will be taking an action fall season. And you'll see the fulfillment of this action and what a difference it made in you moving forward when you have Pluto move forward into Aquarius near the end of January. So really significant time, okay? Continue to do your healing work and continue to nurture yourself and continue to put good self-care in place so that you can be strong and stable and you can have the resilience and the determination, the fortitude, and also the health and the vitality to really bring your energy forward in an empowering way and be a part of building that light and that hope for the future, not only for yourself in your own life, with your loved ones, with your family, within your community, but globally. You know, it's important. There's a real movement happening here. Real movement happening here. And it's about all inclusivity. It's really about we're all walking each other home and nobody can be left behind. So these themes are very much in play and they're kicked off now, but Saturn requires us to definitely not turn away from where there are issues and to do the work and to get really organized with our efforts and have some kind of game plan. You're going to be arriving at that this cycle. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Okay. I don't know why I felt like getting a few more shuffles, but I did. So we're going to respect that. Yeah, it's not time yet to charge forward. Okay. You may feel very impulsive. Some of you may really be chomping at the bit. This could be coming in very strongly for fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. But there's something about this. It's like, whoa, Nelly. You know, just pull back those reins, you know, just a little bit. You know, it's not time yet to charge ahead. It will be soon. Okay. It will be soon. It will be in this lunar cycle. There's something that will culminate by full moon where you really have a lay of the land and you will be charging forward. But this is really systems check. We want to turn this energy upright. Okay. Impulsivity can be a problem at this time because remember, there's still stuff that's hidden. Now we're in the solar eclipse cycle. We want to arrive at that sun. Look at this in reverse. Look at this. We got the 7 of Swords in reverse. This is like our hidden motivations. This is the stuff that still remains in the root cellar that we haven't become clear about yet, the ways that we're sabotaging ourselves or the way certain pursuits, certain interests, certain people, places, things that we're invested in are stealing our time, are stealing our energy, and are veering us off course, but we don't want to look at it, you know? We don't want to shine a light on that. Well, there's going to be a light that's going to shine on it. That's what's going to happen as this light starts to build. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. This is very interesting. So let me look at how the energy's here. It was just this card. All right, let me go ahead and do another cut of the deck here. And then we'll start to shuffle as I bring in this energy. Really cool energy. It's definitely a disruption of the status quo. Look at this. It came up again. What is going on? This is really wild. Yes. Okay, we're going to go ahead and turn this upright. We know that things have been very stuck because we have the Knight of Pentacles that came in behind these two cards, and these were in reverse. So when we have the Knight of Pentacles on the scene, the reason why the Knight of Pentacles is so slow is because the Knight of Pentacles knows that they need to plant this seed if there's going to be a harvest, but they're deliberating so much. You know, they're trying to make up their mind. Should I plant this seed? Should I plant that seed? Should I plant it here? Should I plant it there? And they're almost getting too gridlocked in the Saturnian energy where it's too dogmatic. It's too stuck. It's too fixed. And fixed energy needs to kind of like get moving. All right. Fixed signs still coming in very strongly. Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, Leo. You all might really feel challenged during this time. You may feel like you're in gridlock. If you're feeling like you're in gridlock or things aren't moving, some way, some form, you're having too fixed of a position, too stubborn of a position, not willing to look at something in a new way. And when I speak to this and I speak to the signs, I'm also speaking to where do you have those signs in your chart, okay? Even if it's not one of your big three, or where are those houses in your chart? What's in those houses, okay? Because all of the energy of the zodiac is still expressed within us, even if it's not our big three. And our charts are like a roadmap right now. They really highlight to us where we need to do the work, where we need to move the energy. This will bear fruit. The seed will bear fruit. There will be a harvest from the seed that's planted, but it requires actually planting it. Otherwise, this field just remains fallow. It doesn't become a field of dreams. Nothing can grow here if it's not planted. And we know that when we plant a seed, especially a seed of great value, as we got with the Ace of Pentacles, it's not going to grow overnight. It requires that Saturnian energy. You got to water the seed. You got to till the land, right? You got to do your pruning. You got to fertilize. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of fertilizer, you know, sometimes it takes some bullshit to make the flowers grow. You know what I'm saying? So it's all part of it. And you're meant to move forward in this spirit, like the seed that's going to come forward for you that will lead to your happiness. It will lead to your harvest. It will lead to fulfillment and a new way forward, not just for you. And it really is this big. It really is this big and significant. What is revolutionary for you ultimately will be revolutionary for the collective. It's facts, okay? We're really formulating a whole new view of our future collectively right now. And that's why it feels so significant on the personal level. But whatever you plant now, whatever vision, inspiration, illumination, bolt of lightning comes down for you and says, this is it. This is your next step. You're really being required to commit to it and to follow through with it and stay with it, even when it gets hard. Even when it feels like I'm not really seeing rapid progress. This isn't about rapid progress. It's not. This is about laying down a firm foundation. We already had the Tower collective. This is about building brand new, right? We are also operating within a defunct power structure, and that's something that's shifting, and we have to look at that with Pluto and Capricorn. Pluto and Capricorn can be energy where there's a real imbalance of power, where oppressive forces are kind of like, they're at the forefront and they got a boot on all of our necks, you know, and how do you wrench the fabric of that? It's a lot. We're seeing that with the decline of the Western civilization. We are seeing that in the frisson that's happening within society, the polarization, the dividing lines have become very strong. And where there's dividing lines, there's weakening. So we're really being asked to think about this long term and in the future. We cannot have solutions come about when we're in such polarized points of view. And this is why this openness is required, but also an understanding that you'll arrive at true understanding that something can be built from where there is a balance of power, and it's not about a select few holding all the power. It's about shared power. It's about collective mindset. We cannot arrive there without doing some serious groundwork. And how do we do that? It's not all out chaos, okay? And yes, there's always chaos in play anytime we look at moving forward in a new way, because chaos is the creative force in life. It takes chaos to birth a star. The world wouldn't exist without chaos. That's how things come into being. And it's always disruptive. Anytime you bring in a new type of thought, a new action, a new direction, right? I mean, even if you're excited about it, even if it's hopeful, it still can be a destabilizing experience. And so a little bit of this polarization is in play, but that's why you got to stay the course, okay? Because it's so important to put down a new structure. Now, some of the shadow aspects that can come forward at this time, just globally, that I want to highlight is the divisory agenda, is the way that the algorithm is programmed to kind of have us at odds with each other because it disempowers us. And if we're disempowered, then we're more easily rolled over. It's more easy to program us. It's more easy to get us to fall in line, isn't it? But see, people are waking up to this. It can't be helped. There's an expansion in consciousness, and so it's not going to move forward this way. So what's going to happen is we start to head towards this Pluto moving direct into Aquarius later in January 2024, is it's going to be this. The clashing is going to increase. It's going to increase within you. It's going to increase in your relationships. It's going to increase in the type of work you're doing, the path you're living, you know, all of it. It's really going to start to highlight to you, where is there this division here? Where does this make me feel divided? And it doesn't make me feel empowered. It doesn't make me feel connected, okay? You're going to see it really play out anywhere where technology is involved, okay? Because that energy is front and center when we're looking at Aquarius. It's certainly present with Pluto in Capricorn, okay? We're looking at the distortion of these energies, the shadow side of these energies. We're looking at surveillance, monitoring, police state, this kind of energy, big brother, this kind of energy. This is front and center. You think that we're going to wrench the fabric of that by just disrupting it and moving into total all-out chaos? Don't get suckered in either by what you see on the media. You have to remember, media is part of the indoctrination. It's part of the programming, and they're given a script and it's parroted across the board, okay? So there's very little independent thought in media. So where do we get independent thought in media? Social media. But nobody thinks of it that way, because they're all suckered in by the algorithm, right? And soon they're just parroting the same stuff to each other, and they're falling in line with the divisory agenda, and they're fighting online. They're having flame wars online. They're hurling incense. Maybe we need to hurl some incense. Like, let's cleanse this energy. They're incensed, is what I meant to say. And they're hurling insults at each other, and they're fighting about, well, my side's right. No, my side's right. And there's just so much drama there, right? And meanwhile, nothing's happening. Everybody's distracted. It's so wag the dog, okay? And so we can start to overcome that. We do have the power to do something differently, to make a different choice. We can use this format in an innovative way where it's like, no, maybe I'm going to start bringing my truth forward. And yeah, maybe you'll get some backlash. Maybe not everybody wants to see the truth. People who speak the truth always will get backlash, you know, because it moves people out of their comfort zones. And it's very confrontational in a way, because some people would just rather like put their heads in the sand. I don't want to look at what's wrong. I'm tired, boss, right? I'm tired. Things have been stressful. I just want to pretend everything's okay. Like, here, let me just share another meme. Here, look at this meme. But did you ever think about that on social media, if you notice how rarely does anybody ever share a personal thought? Look at it. Scroll through your feed the next time you're on. I can't. I'm no longer on social media. I'm here. That's it. I'm on YouTube now. I got rid of all my social media accounts. I'm not active on any of them. I totally deactivated, did away with, permanently deleted all my Facebook, Instagram. I still have TikTok up, but I'm not going on there. I'm not creating there. I mainly just left it up because it'll point people over here to YouTube and the work I'm doing here, but I'm done. Like, this is it for me. I want to bring my voice forward in a way that's clear and direct, where there's no doubt about what I'm saying. Because, you know, when you type something in, right, it can be misconstrued. But when you bring your voice forward in a podcast or on video like this, there's no doubt about what's going on, what your position is, what you feel, where you stand. And this piece is important too. Clarity in vision, clarity in communication. These things are all coming forward, and they're very foundational for moving forward. But this has been the problem, you know. We get caught too much in our own desires, what works for us, what I want, what works for me, and this individual mindset. This is really what's moving out of the sphere of influence. I'm just going to go through these cards as I'm talking to you here. I want to make sure everything's upright, because we got a lot of stuff that's coming in reverse, and looks like everything got mixed up in the shuffle, which doesn't normally happen for me. We got Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Again, fixed sign energy. Fixed is not the way to go. The energy is more mutable. It really reminds me of needing to invoke that Sagittarian energy of the 9th house, where it's like, yes, we have the lofty vision. Yes, we have optimism. Yes, we're building that. Yes, we need to move into expansion. That's what brings the progression, right? That's what moves us forward. It's interesting too, big horse energy coming in. Horse is the totem of power, but also movement. You know, this is how things get legs, move forward. Ace of Swords in reverse. Okay, I'm just looking at how it rolled out in the deck and just getting a view of this before I get everything up right here. So there's something here. There's a truth we're not speaking. There's something we're holding inside. We're not communicating it. Maybe because we're afraid of how people will react to what we bring forward. There also can be a certain fear of acknowledging the truth and the change it requires in life. Then what do we got here? We got Knight of Wands in reverse. So that's being way too impulsive, not having a clear view, not getting certain things in place that provide the right foundation for a real, you know, charge forward. This is very important to have stability in the future. You know, a movement or a new direction, a new beginning is only strong and as empowered as the foundation it's laid upon. Okay, so now is not the time to be sloppy. Now is not the time to just move forward just because you're tired of sitting in one place. You might not like the foundation that gets put in place, and then here you are again back in the karmic spin cycle, one tower after another. Let's avoid that. We don't need to do that. Okay, we got to figure out what works. We got Three of Pentacles in reverse. Like right now we're investing in things that do not work, and the current structure does not work. So we need to think of a new way forward. All right. And I think really the revolution is going to happen online. I have to tell you, it's all online. Seven of Swords in reverse, being invested in people, places, and things that's really just spilling our energy out, wasting our focus, dragging our time and attention away from worthwhile pursuits, things that would actually give us forward progression in our lives and give us great reward. And we're too defensive about these things too. We're not only hanging on to them with the Seven of Wands coming in reverse right after that, but we're so invested in just maintaining the status quo because we tell ourselves, well, you know, it might not be what I want, but at least I know what to expect. And I've already been through so many changes and so much disruption. I don't really want to look at any further disruption by having to move in a new way. But the new is upon us and there's nothing we can do about it. Yep. And finally, Ace of Wands in reverse. We're not bringing the fire forward. This is the thing we're all avoiding right now, action. Now, a lot of you haven't taken action yet because, like I was saying, you don't have the lay of the land, and it's not wise to act when you're not certain about what you need to do. But sometimes the action is just admitting that to yourself, like, I really don't know the next step forward, but I do know that what I've been investing in, where I've been pouring my time and energy, and the way I've been doing it, it needs to change. It needs to shift, and I'm committed to changing it. I am committed to moving forward in a new way, but I could use insight to moving forward. Even just admitting that to yourself is taking an action. It's using your truth to kind of illuminate something for you that, yes, I can't just stay in this position. It's also taking ownership, you know, it's accountability. That's powerful. And accountability unlocks a lot of doors that seem like they're permanently sealed shut. You'd be surprised the doors of opportunity that will present themselves to you once you are honest with yourself and you admit this core truth, okay? Now we're going to shuffle now that everything's in the upright position here. That's wild. I normally don't get cards that mixed up. That's not usual for me. So it really kind of shows you that there is a lot for us to sort out on the individual level before we can move forward collectively. And all of this is very significant. But there will be disruption to the status quo. So think about the status quo in your life. What has been steady and constant, and how is it not working? And admit that to yourself and just make a promise to yourself as a seed that you plant with this new moon energy today that I don't know the way forward, but I know this needs to change in my life. And I'm committed to making that change. I just need to understand what steps am I being asked to take. And maybe you send that up as a prayer to the universe. You know, maybe you meditate on that a bit. Maybe you light a candle, you have a candle vigil, and you hold this seed within that light and you ask to be shown the way forward. And trust, you will be shown. You know, it's progressive. That alone is moving out of a fixed position. It's a very small thing, okay? You don't need to reinvent the wheel. It's not about that. Little little steps, little actions will make really big results at this time. And it isn't wise to do anything really bold and daring and sweeping right now. You are being asked to act, but in very small, measured ways, conscientious ways, okay? And this is a good place to start when I'm sharing with you. If you were to move forward too quickly, too boldly right now without having certain insights that are going to come forward for you in this lunar cycle, you could make an infinite cosmic mess of things. And then the disruption would be counterproductive. Sometimes disruption can be a progressive energy. It's like, okay, the status quo doesn't work. I need to disrupt it. And it can be a creative force that actually frees up a lot of things and gets things moving forward in a very positive way. But if the timing is off with that, and if it's not measured in response to the climate you find yourself in, it can be a really negative thing. And when we're speaking of revolution, we can't just go and dismantle all the structures in place. It doesn't work like that. First, we have to look at how can we work within the current structure we're in, but in a new way, in a progressive way. And that's something that I'll be really bringing forward, both at Broad Coven and at Parlor Tricks, just new ways that we can start to take steps to move forward within the current framework that's actually very innovative, okay? That starts to move the energy forward into an evolutionary expression, which is totally beneficial. But this energy, if I had to think of like buzzwords around this energy, we're thinking creativity, innovation, original recipe, your secret sauce, that thing that's uniquely you, that maybe you're hiding right now and you need to bring it forward, you need to share it with people, your own creative voice, your own expression. It's experimentation, exploration. And the whole point of this lunar cycle is, like I said, it's not about doing the deep dive right now. There's things that need to come to light for you, and they will during this lunar cycle. It's about dipping your toes in just a little bit, okay, to create just enough shift in your fixed position where it creates an opening where what's needed, those gaps that need to be filled in for you, the keys you need, okay, to unlock those doors of opportunity can start to come in, and they will come in. But too much too soon could be disastrous. Now, I do want to touch base with it, okay, because it is coming in. Look at this, 10 of Cups. That's what's on the horizon. Where are we at right now? Here we are right now. This is what wants to come in, the ultimate fulfillment. Look, this isn't just one person here fulfilled, right? That 9 of Cups came in reverse. This is the collective consciousness. No, we all eat. We all win. We all evolve. We all move forward. We all share power. This is the vision for the future. It's the ultimate happiness. It's that coming in with that rainbow energy. It reminds me of the fulfillment. There's a beauty that comes after the storm, right? There's a beauty, and it brings everything together. When we look at a rainbow, we're looking at the broad spectrum of light, right? That is really born out of white light is what makes a rainbow, So this is coming into that point of unification. There's enough for everybody to have. But we're in this place right here, right now, where we feel like there's not enough, and see that infinity symbol. It's lopsided. It's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be like this. Our emotions are all over the place. Our ships aren't coming in. Things just feel off, right? Things feel off even in our connections. Why can't we get on the same page? Why are we always like two ships passing in the night? Why is it that I'm doing the work, I'm working really hard, but things are just feeling more imbalanced? It's because there's gaps in understanding. There's gaps in knowledge. You don't have all the pieces yet. And so sometimes this is the first step. Just go, wow, I need to bring more balance into my life. I need to be more grounded. I need to have a schedule. I need to kind of really think about how I'm investing my energy and get a little bit more clear on what's really in my best interest, and where can I kind of trim the fat? Where can I pull back my focus from certain things so I can pour in other directions that will better support me, all right? So you're being asked to bring balance to your life, to your day-to-day schedule. As you do this, you're going to find this interesting thing happens where, let's say you've been dealing with like some financial challenges and you feel like it doesn't matter how hard you work, how much you take on, you just find that, you're not getting any traction, you're not seeing growth, you know. This is really about the more that you bring stability into your life, you get dialed in with your schedule, you make sure you're getting good sleep, you take care of your physical body, you make sure you're getting quality rest in measure to the work you're doing, which means penciling yourself in, okay? Then all of a sudden things that have been missing the boat, they start to come into port, okay? Then these ships are no longer like two ships passing in the night. They're actually ready to kind of like, you know, come into dock, all right? But it can't when there's all this imbalance in place. So this energy very front and center. Globally, we're looking at themes of uprising, rebellion, the birth of grassroots movements, just in their infancy stages, okay? You may have some ideas in regard to this. This is all about a progressive way forward. This is breakthrough and also pitfalls in the areas of science, technology, the World Wide Web, social media, AI, okay, again, it's the hack the algorithm piece. We don't have to be programmed by it. We can call it out. We can all agree there's a lot of device or reprogramming going on with the algorithm right now. So how do you counterbalance that? Through unity consciousness. There's a lot of fear in the algorithm right now. How do we counterbalance that? By bringing in the hope. Now, this isn't about bypassing things. This is not about whitewashing things. This is about being in a place where we understand that, yeah, okay, yeah, things are screwed right now. We've lost the keys to the kingdom. Like we're all ailing. Society is ailing. And we're feeling the effect of that in our own lives. But there's a way to balance this out with justice. This is the work of the South Node. We can bring this thing into balance. And that's where the hope is. So let's stop focusing so much on where we lack and where the loss is and where it's hard, where it's tough and where we're tired and the excuses and the complaints, and let's instead get really constructive. Okay, how can we balance it out? Let's start sharing from a place where instead of like putting up a bunch of posts on social media about FML, this isn't working in my life, instead we look at what can we do to change things. Put stuff up that's consciousness raising. Put stuff up that gets people looking at things in a new way. And I feel even more importantly, don't just share memes. Don't just share other people's content. What do you have to contribute to the discussion? Start sharing your voice. Maybe be a little vulnerable. Maybe share some of your ideas, some of your perspectives, and like, I mean, I think that's the one thing that's really missing from the online experience is there's so many people that don't share original thought. They just regurgitate information. They just press the share button and they tell themselves that they're being social on social media, and they're not. They're just reinforcing the algorithm. And I think this is such an important piece moving forward is bringing our voices forward, you know. That's when we activate collective solutions by bringing ourselves forward into this mix, into this soul stew, into this cauldron of Dogda, you know, all this transformational energy that we're getting cooking here, okay? There's a lot of star action that's going on with this new moon cycle, okay? When we're cutting the deck energy here, and then we're really going to just get the cards out on the board so I can do this collective read, even though we've kind of been doing it with this conversation we're having here, this conversation with cards. Mercury and Mars are in the girdle of the Virgin because with the precession of equinoxes, all this action is truly going down in the area of the sky associated with the constellation of Virgo, right? So we naturally have Virgo energy in the mix, which is about being decisive, really looking at a sound way forward, exercising that intellect, the acumen, at times letting that rule a little bit more than over emotionality, just so there can be a real balanced, clear disposition. It's also about getting that clarity so there can be that decisiveness, as well as looking at the real, like, kind of nuts and bolts of things, right? I wrote down all these different stars because I didn't want to miss any of them. This is a really excellent place for us to have Mercury and Mars in this girdle of the Virgin. This is one of the most fortunate areas of the sky to be lit up, okay? It actually brings in a lot of progressive energy, supportive energy for transformation, as well as energy that really, really solidifies that if we make the commitment and if we do the work and we plant that seed, we will have a harvest. Like, it's guaranteed. It brings prosperity. It brings reasons to celebrate. It brings alignment. It brings solution. It brings a new way forward. So I hope you will tap into the optimism that's present here. Hello, good to see you. Hello, Julie. Wonderful to have you here. This is a progressive energy, so please, like we've been saying here forever, will you stop focusing on the shadow? Stop talking about the old stories. And it's like, yes, you're aware of the shadow. Okay, good. Any stuff from your past that you're still kind of like wrestling with, we got to clear it out. Okay, wrap it up. That's what Libra is here to do in the South Node. Wrap it up. You now understand that. Okay, you take your pearl of wisdom from it, tuck it in your pocket. Time to wrap up that karmic cycle. We're moving forward brand new. We're laying the foundation for a future, okay? So now it's about looking at, okay, what is still present in my life that's not related to the past? It's here, it's right now, it's present, that doesn't work. Where do I need to shift things? Where do I need to put new structures in place? What is the work I need to do? And it's not glamorous with Pluto and Capricorn. It's one brick down at a time. It's one step forward at a time. It's the drudgery work, okay, that comes with the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles isn't glamorous. He moves forward slow and steady, but there's a reason for that, because the foundation needs to be really solid with where we're heading, all right? So you're being asked to do this first in your individual life. The very basics, right? Your foundation, your home, your physical body, your health, how you're working, bringing a balance between rest, relaxation, and energy output so you can stay in that strong, balanced place. These are also the areas that Virgo rules over, right? Work, routine, okay? Duty. This is all the house of Virgo. So these areas of our life are needing attention right now. It makes a difference. But these energies are in play simultaneously as we have these more expansive, playful, creative, innovative inspiration coming in this lunar cycle, which is good. It's really exciting. And this is what's really getting lit up with Mercury and Mars. We got lucky star energy coming in from Speak Up. And this is what guarantees our harvest. It's like you put the systems in place, you do the work, there's abundance coming in. Where you feel like your finances have been dwindling, or where you feel like your health has been suffering, all of a sudden you get this infusion. It's like, wow, I got more energy, I got vitality. Wow, finally, I'm doing the work, I'm putting these systems in place, and look, I'm getting traction, I'm starting to like move forward. That's what's on offer this lunar cycle. It's good energy. We're meant to start focusing on the way forward. Stop looking at the past. Stop talking about the past. Stop giving it any more energy. You can't do it. Okay, you're aware of what's wrong in the world, all right? We all know. We're all aware of it. It's up in our face, okay? Now, what are you going to do about it? In your own little way, with your own choices, in your own world. I'll be bringing more of that here in as an influence. A lot of that has to do with economics, how we work with our money, what we invest in monetarily. It's a big clue. We need a whole new way forward, a whole new framework for the economic picture. But we do have to understand, even as capitalism is having its like last breath, okay? We still have to work within that structure here in the Western world. Even as we're experiencing this decline of the Western civilization, we're still working within this framework. But now we can start to take these little steps to infuse something innovative, to look at things in a new way. What are some ideas around this, just to bring them in? It's just an introductory point, just to like let it kind of sit in your consciousness and sort of kind of open up new pathways, new neural pathways of exploration. Well, that looks like not going digital with currency, understanding the ways that that actually isn't technological advancement, but can be used as a system of control. And we need to be mindful of this. We need to be mindful of continuing to use actual in-the-hand currency, using that in-the-hand currency to feed back into our communities, not necessarily going to Amazon to buy that thing just because it's convenient. Instead, going and supporting the people in our community, supporting small businesses, using cash. Okay? This is important. It seems small. It's not. The more that we can go and funnel our revenue into small business instead of corporate, this changes the balance of the power structure. Little thing, working within the capitalistic framework that starts to shift the tide. It seems small now. It doesn't seem like such a big deal, even in an online format. Okay, I'm not going to go and buy this thing from Amazon. Instead, I'm going to go and buy this from this little online business here. That makes a difference. These are small little things that cost you nothing but your convenience. Maybe you have to do a little research. Maybe you have to go through a new company you haven't gone through before. Maybe you actually have to get off your butt, get out of the house, and actually go into your community and go to the store and give them your business instead of just clicking a button. It matters, okay? So this is what I want you to look at this cycle, not thinking like, oh, I got to do something really huge. I got to think about anarchy. Anarchy is a grassroots movement. It happens on the communal level, true anarchy. I'm not talking about the crap that you see on the news. That's not anarchy. Where you see this negative connotation attached to it, where it has this violent connotation. Do not buy into that. That's not what it's about. You want to know what that structure looks like. All you have to do is look at the native people of this land in America and look at the way the tribes functioned before their system was disrupted by all of this structure that came in and hoarded power. It looks like honoring the earth. It looks like sustainability. It looks like natural sources of energy. It looks like having respect for the land because we understand that the land provides for us. It looks like communal gardens that feed the entire neighborhood. It looks like solar power. It looks like wind power. It looks like community, addressing problems on a communal level instead of having institutions like prisons. Okay? It looks like dealing with the problems within our own community instead of micromanaging what's happening in another country over there. It's about minding our own business and understanding that when we're worried about what's happening in that part of the world, this part of the world, we're distracting ourselves from what's going on here at home. It's about being actively involved in our communities, playing an active role in our communities. It's about understanding that not everybody has to share our view. That's okay. It doesn't mean that somebody who has a different view than us is wrong. There's little t truth. Okay, that's all you have in this world is little t truth. It is not absolute. We need to have more respect and understanding that people have different perspectives. And maybe if we open our mind and we actually learn how to communicate with each other instead of being so polarized in this us versus them, I'm right, you're wrong mentality, we actually can learn from each other. Oh my gosh, I learned something from you. I never realized that before. Now my reality tunnel is expanded. I can see things in a new way. And in cases where you don't see things the same way and you never will, that's okay too. Live and let live. Does everybody have to agree with you? And if it's all one energy, can you understand that this too and this too? This is valid too. And this person's truth was arrived at through their own personal experience. That's how we arrive at truth. So when you deny another their truth, or where you don't want to understand it, even if their truth is ugly, okay? And that's the dicey work here, okay? Even if their truth is ugly, your unwillingness to have understanding and how did this distortion of truth get here? How did this ignorance get here? Is part of the freaking problem. We have to learn how to work within this framework. We have to understand, how did ignorance get here? How can we unravel it? How can we unlearn it together? How can we understand that until we can hold space for this, none of us move forward? This is the work. It's not easy work. Revolution is not easy work. But it's not about violence. It's not about division. True anarchy is collective consciousness. And it's been distorted, and it's been lied upon, and it's had a media spin that has made you believe otherwise. And you need to start questioning why. There's a reason why. Because it unifies us. And when we're united, we're strong. Union is what gives us power. The way forward is not out of fear. It's moving through the fear, facing the fear, facing those things we don't understand collectively. And that's what has us entering the house of love. The way forward is with love. Love is the unity point. It's understanding that at the end of the day, no matter what walk of life we come from, no matter the challenges we face, we're all in this together. And so we've got to find a way through. And it's not about brushing things aside or sweeping things under the rug. It's not about ignoring the ugliness in the world and the challenges we face, but it's understanding that the system of structure we have in place to deal with these inequities does not work. Does it not work? We need total reform on every stratum of being of this structure. Even law fails us so often, does it not? Does it not? And if you say it doesn't, you're not paying attention. These politics, these political sides that you're so like married to, invested in, do they not fail us? Has it not failed us repeatedly? We need to start looking at things in a new way. Because even when we look at the foundation that this country was established upon, it's not being upheld. It's not. It's veered way off course. And so first we're looking at this from the standpoint of starting this revolution, this little R revolution, this evolution within us and in our own lives and the choices we're making in the day-to-day things that they don't seem very important, but they have such weight. Just that simple thing, how you're using your money, where you spend your money, whether you use cash or whether you use digital currency. It's so important. It has way more weight than a vote. It does. Ted just says yes. It has way more power than any ballot. And we've already seen the way ballots can be manipulated. Have we not? You think there's not more of that in store? Oh, there is. Oh, there is. So we really have to like wake up to this reality and start making a different kind of vote in our lives by our own personal choices. That evolutionary movement happens first individually in our own lives with simple day-to-day choices we make. And from that, it spirals out, okay? And one person after another gets lit up. And as we all start doing this, as everybody starts waking up and they start making these empowering choices and they take that accountability, the world turns. And it turns in a new way. And that new way does bring a way forward, okay? So it does happen within the current framework. And it's not about ignoring what is imbalanced, but it's about saying, okay, yeah, I get it. This is out of balance. I get it. This doesn't work. I get it. This is a problem in the world. And instead of just sitting on Facebook like a keyboard warrior bitching about it, you know, typing up my big rebuttal to this person's argument because they believe in this political party and not my political party, that as long as you stay there, you're part of the problem. It's more about like, okay, then what can we do about it individually? Forget about the politics. Forget about all that. What can I do about it? Here's what I'm doing about it. And even if you started sharing your voice in that way, like, I've decided that I'm no longer going to support corporations. I've decided I'm going to support small businesses. And then you start talking about how this affects your life and the choices you're making. You start to shine a light. And that's something that has value. Then you're working within that structure, that framework of online formats, social media in an empowering way, in an awakening way, okay? We also have the constellation Volans, the flying fish, that's activating the muse, okay? This energy coming forward. So there's a lot of inspiration that's going to come through for you all this cycle, and it's very illuminating. It's very inspirational. It's going to give you creative visions for how you can move forward, new ways to do things in your life, and also stuff that's really going to inspire you. So this is wonderful energy that is coming in with this cycle. It's everything to feel optimistic about. It's like finally we're going to start to get in touch with those things that are really inspiring us to move forward in a new way. And as we start to take steps and we invest in this new direction that's more in alignment with our integrity and our heart, we start to move forward toward a new future. Now, see what pops out of the deck is this 8 of Cups in reverse. We're meant to do this. We're meant to follow the path of heart, but we're not doing that right now. And that's why we're not moving forward, because we're still in this darkened place where we're so used to the structures we currently have in place that we've become codependent on them. And we think, well, I know this isn't right. This doesn't feed me. This doesn't support me, but I have to do this because XYZ. You know what to expect from continuing to invest in this. It may not be fulfilling you, but at least it pays the bills, or it's easy, it's convenient, or, well, if I really moved in the direction that I feel called to move in, it's going to disrupt my relationships. My family's not going to support me. I might have to go my own way for a while. We all have our reasoning, our excuses, our checks and balances. But this is the very thing that's holding us back from having the fulfillment we want. It's the very thing that's keeping us from moving forward in an empowering way. We need to turn this energy around. There's some things that we need to build a bridge and get over. And we got to stop this past focus. Too many people are still like spinning the story of the past. They're stuck in their old narratives. They're stuck in their old stories. It's like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. North Node in Aries, it doesn't work. We're meant to start a brand new cycle. Total innovation, inspiration, new way forward, taking the initiative, charging forward in a new way, closing up the karmic cycle. It's done. Put a fork in it. You can keep talking about it. You're not going to get anywhere. Your life is going to be stagnant. You can keep making the same choices you've always made. You're going to be blocked. It's nobody's fault but your own. It's reality. You can blame this person. You can say it's because this person did this to me back there. It's because I have to do this job because of this, and that. You can bring forward all your excuses to be married to something that you know damn well is out of harmony with your truth. And then you're going to bemoan the fact that you're not having forward progression in your life, and that your money's dried up, and that your health is suffering, and that you're not happy. It's you. You cannot be fixed like this. This energy is not going to allow it. And you'll know if you're moving out of harmony with this energy because you're going to have more and more blockage in your life, more and more gridlock in your life, more and more health challenges, more and more financial challenges, more and more feeling of being stuck. More and more clashes in your relationships, more and more stubbornness, more and more problems, less solutions. You'll know that you're getting it right when you start just opening your mind a little bit. You got to have an open mind with this energy coming in. You cannot be closed-minded. You cannot. You cannot be stubborn. Everything in your life will stay stuck at gridlock if you are fixed. It really is. A fixed hand is a losing hand right now. You have to be willing to get a new view. You have to be willing to go, you know what? Maybe there's something I don't see in this situation. Maybe I don't have it all right. Maybe there's a different way forward. Okay, I'm open to that. Maybe I don't know the right way forward. This can be a beautiful intention right here. Maybe I don't know the best way forward. Maybe I don't know what'll give me fulfillment. Maybe I don't know what'll give me happiness. Maybe I got it all wrong. I'm willing to see something different. That alone is taking an action. It's taking accountability, and it's creating an openness in your perspective that allows a new insight, a solution to come forward, okay? that can get you moving forward. All right. This energy is so important because with fixed star He's on the scene, we have the promise of harvest and freedom on the horizon. To get free of all this stuff, do you understand? The energy is wanting to expand. It's wanting to build the light. Who's getting in the way? The individuals. The collective energy wants to expand. It wants to move into this time of harvest, creativity, innovative solutions, all right? Initiative, movement, feeling inspired, passionate, purposeful. Yes, let's make a new way forward, okay? Let's saddle up. Let's get the reinforcements in place. Let's lay new groundwork so we can really get on that horse and ride toward that new horizon, you know? The new frontier. It happens within us first, though. So if you're encountering this gridlock and you're feeling stuck and you don't feel like there's solutions, you know you're being too controlling. You're being stubborn, you're being too fixed, and you're investing in things that you know damn well they don't work, and you think they're going to be different, and they're not. They just aren't. And you're scared of letting these things go because even if they're not fulfilling or they don't work, it's your comfort zone. And you need to get disrupted a little bit. You need that Uranus shakeup, the rug pulled out from under you a little bit, where you have to come up with innovative solutions, because that's what happens as soon as we admit this to ourselves and we make the commitment like, okay, I'm going to let go of this relationship, or I'm going to let go of this job. I'm not able to do it yet because I don't know the avenue, but I'm committed to doing this because I recognize it's out of harmony with me. This is what offers the opportunity for actually now we can move forward, okay? Because then as soon as you admit this, you move out of your stubbornness. Now you're creating an opening in your consciousness where the solutions can start to come in for you, okay? And then we also have the fixed star Argo coming in with fixed star Foramen that brings forward the spirit of leadership and fluency. Fluency in the sense where it's fluid, okay? It's a fluidity that opens up understanding. It's being able to work within parameters that you haven't been able to work with before because you've been in a box. Well, now we're getting rid of the borders, okay? Now we're able to have more influence as well. And it's also about understanding the cross-cultural influences and the influences of people from different walks of life that maybe you don't normally associate with. And maybe as you start to open up your mind and you start to have conversations with people you normally wouldn't, oh, wait, it lights a different kind of fire in you, okay? And all of this leads to a lot of progress. It also leads to journeys that carry us forward, okay? It also leads to doing commerce as well, but commerce in a new way. You understand what I'm saying here, right? Okay, so we know we're supposed to move forward because this old way ain't working with the 5 of Swords on the bottom of the deck. Like, this is a big ripoff, man. And we need to move away from this energy that's a betrayal. The more we invest in things that we know we need to move away from, we're betraying ourselves. And then we still complain. It doesn't make sense. Does it make sense? Make it make sense. That discernment of that Virgo energy is like, make it make sense. This doesn't make sense. So we're needing to look at things a little more plainly and then make the commitment to move forward in a new way. What else do you want to bring in, Spirit? What do you want the collective to know about this? Give us some directive. Give us some tools to work with. Give us some guidance about how we can move forward and really work with this energy that's on offer to move into freedom, to move into the light, to move into solutions, to move into expansion, to move into the harvest energy. It comes out again. You got to plant the seed, okay? You got to plant the seed, and you got to do the work, and you got to know nothing is going to happen overnight. It just isn't. You got to be committed to it, all right? And this is the truth with the Ace of Swords, all right? It's when you know your truth. You know what you know when you know it. And when you know your truth, how do you restore the sovereignty? By living your truth. It makes me think of live by the sword, die by the sword. I don't know why that's coming in, but it is that thing. It's like you can't just pay it lip service, right? You actually have to live by the sword. You have to live in integrity. Once you know something is true, you got to act from that place of truth. And yeah, it might not be easy. It's not easy laying down a whole new foundation in your life. You're going to have to be committed to moving in this new direction, informed by the truth you're aware of now. But it's good and it's honest. It's a good, honest way to live. And it's something that has real stability and solidity. And then how do we need to tend it? Well, we need to water it with the King of Cups. We need to nurture it. We need to be emotionally invested. We need to feel emotionally connected. It's important. Mind, body, spirit. That's what forges the new way forward, the path of heart. We need to be emotionally invested in it. If we're not emotionally invested in it, it won't bear fruit because we need the water element coming in to nurture it to grow. Ah, okay. Let's do a cut of the deck on that for you, Jared. Let's just see. Queen of Pentacles. This is about you staying in your sovereignty, your sense of self-worth. You should kind of be aware of this energy with the Nine of Wands. I don't think you have the full picture here just yet, okay? Let a little more information come in before you act on this, okay? Just get a little more insight, all right? This is about you being mindful of how hard you've worked, you know, to put your sovereignty in place, right? To stand in your truth, to know your worth, to know your value, to know how you deserve to be met, right? You don't need another round of, you know, having to defend this. You already worked very hard for this. Let it be crystal clear to you, okay? Anybody is coming forward towards anybody at this time when you're dealing with relationship challenges, it has to be measured against this. It's like you've done a lot of personal growth work. You've done a lot of healing work. And this also speaks collectively, okay? It's the work of that North Node that was the old cycle, right? Yeah, you did. You worked really hard, right? Okay? So anything coming towards you needs to understand that there's going to be no rushing forward. There needs to be a good solid foundation in place because you've been through a lot and you don't need to fend off more BS. So there needs to be a feeling of safety and solidity in place for any moving forward in relationships. When we're looking at healing in this cycle, and it is pivotal, it's important because right now we have Libra in the South Node, which is Venus energy. We have Aries in the North Node, which is Mars energy. It's those polarities, you know, the love, the war, you know, the mirror, the other, okay, how we relate to it. Until we're at a place where it feels safe to work in this framework of growth, of opening up, moving forward, we know we're not laying down the proper foundation yet. It takes time, okay? It takes time. I do feel like you're going to have more communication with this person. Here's the fire sign energy, but when you look, it's coming forward as a page, all right? It's coming forward as a page energy. So we know there's a maturation process required here. You smell what I'm stepping in? There's a maturation process required here because you're a queen. You're in that Queen of Pentacles energy and you got a page coming at you. All right. So this is, yes, good. Okay. Open up lines of communication, but there shouldn't be any big, bold actions moving forward yet. Not yet. Okay. Not yet. Let things develop. Let things come to light. Sure. Open up communication. This is good. This is a good first action. It's small step. I'm open to communicating with you. I'm open to talking things out, but I'm not going to dive into anything just yet. And this applies for everybody across the board. Let things develop. If you're in a healing process with somebody and you're wondering, how should I move forward? I want to move forward. I want to charge forward fast. I want that romantic love story. You know, I want to just move into the expansion of it. Don't kid yourself. Lay the proper foundation in place. And you shouldn't be feeling guarded. If you feel guarded or you're like, I don't know, I'm not sure. If it's not a hell yes, it's a fuck no right now. That's the reality. You need to put more structure in place, more foundation in place. So anywhere where you have questions or reticence right now, it's about, okay, we can open up to this energy. I'm not saying no to it, but it's small steps forward right now. It's laying the foundation in place. I'm not going to jump in head first, because I know if I do that, all this work that I did to really recover my sense of value, my sense of self-worth, it's all down the drain. And then I'm going to be right back where I started. Okay, you don't need that. All right, you work too hard. Okay, but do be receptive. Where people are wanting to heal, where people are wanting to open conversation, be receptive. There's no harm in being receptive to it, but just make sure that you have your boundaries in place. Okay, that you're not being guarded and you're not even open to hearing somebody out. If you do want healing, or if you do want reconnection, you know, if that's your core truth, then be open to communicating. Just don't buy all of it hook, line, and sinker. And sometimes that will look like engaging in conversation and then going, okay, I've taken that in. I'm not bailing out on this, but I'm going to take a little space for myself because I have some feelings about what you brought forward, but I need to get clarity around it. And when I'm clear, then I'll reach out to you and we'll continue this conversation, okay? So it's kind of like this energy where it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You're still moving forward, right? But it's the stance, okay? It's a stance. And it's not a rushing forward, but it's allowing things to come to light and communicating about things and developing understanding and moving forward in a very measured, stable, consistent way. If you're dealing with any situation in your life relationally where it's like, they want you to charge forward and it's high pressure, like now. If you don't do it now, it's not going to work. Well, okay, I guess it doesn't work. Watch what happens when you do that. If it falls away, it's not for you. And you just accept the L. Accept that it's protection. But I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, somebody who's feeling really impassioned, they want to move forward fast like that, you tell them that, well, okay, I guess we miss out. What's going to happen is they may pull back initially, but then they're going to sit with that for a minute and they're going to go, well, wait a minute. I don't want to miss out on this. And then you're going to have something to work with, because then a person's going to come forward and going to be like, okay, I understand. How can we move forward? Now you're working with something, right? It's just the way it's going to be. There will be more time for expansion. It's not time for that now. Not with Capricorn, not with Pluto and Capricorn. It's just not. We're really tying up the old cycles. And in general, what's been coming through as a timing memo across the board has been spring season, okay? So we're still in this process of moving forward in a very measured way and laying down the foundation until spring season when things really start cooking, okay? And there's a lot of beautiful new beginnings coming in the spring. And it's not that there's not beautiful stuff happening right now. There is. It's just, it's not the full expression of it yet. And there is still a need to be aware of past cycles, past patterns, past tendencies, and the way that it can trip all of us up, okay? So I'm just getting one final pass here to see what the collective memo is on all of this. And I guess this is all that wants to come through. We have 1 covering, influence, and then we have the crossroads energy, what's working for or against us. Oh, this was the energy I already laid down. Okay. I did this earlier in a reading. It's kind of funny. So I guess this is really what's telling us this is what's at the crossroads right now. The need to align with our truth, to fuel it with our emotions, to feel really connected to any way we move forward on a spiritual level, on a soul level, on a heart level. If we're not emotionally invested in it, it won't bear any fruit, because we do need the water, like, to nurture that seed we plant, okay? That's what makes things grow. but we do need to walk away and cut the cord on certain things that aren't in alignment with us, that we know have proven false, okay? And we need to follow the path apart. This is what's got us at the crossroads right now, the covering influence for all of us. Look at that. Look at how closed off. This is our challenge. We do need to lay down the foundation, but not in such a way where it blocks the heart center. You see how that Ace of Pentacles, it's being held over the heart like a shield. So in the case also, I'll bring in this piece since you brought it in, Jer, in relation to relationships, okay, where we're dealing with another person on the other side of that equation, we do also have to look at the ways that sometimes we can slap what happened in the past on the present, and we can expect more of the same, or we can expect the other shoe to drop. And in a way, we can block off some kind of forward motion that wants to happen that can be very fulfilling, healing, and productive for us. So I would say you have to move forward in a measured way, and you have to be very honest in relationship as you move forward in challenges that you say, okay, what happened before didn't work, and I do want to open to this, but I can admit that I have some fears around this, and I can admit that I don't want a repeat of the past, and I can admit that I do have some guards up, and yeah, my security is important to me because I've fought really hard to get myself back in this stabilized place. So if you're going to move forward with me, you need to understand that this is operating here too. And when you allow that kind of vulnerability from the heart to come forward, it allows the other to go, you know what, I kind of feel like that too. And maybe I'm pushing because I really just, I don't want to lose this opportunity with you. But I understand, and I don't want to sacrifice this opportunity either. So I want it to feel good for both of us. That's the kind of cooperation you're looking for, right? And it's an understanding that I can't be too blocked, okay? I got to be willing to hear a person out. And that's why the foundation is so important. And that's why it's about not having the impulsivity. Because sometimes when we feel like I got to rush forward, I got to make this happen, because if I don't, I'm going to have FOMO, fear of missing out, right? Then we can really sabotage ourselves, because it's not understanding, especially in a healing process or somebody you have history with where things didn't go right in the past, where things did veer left, or where there's trust issues and things to be resolved. That opening back up to this thing, it doesn't mean it can't be transformed. It absolutely can be. People do heal. People do better. There are stories of people who heal relationships, okay? It can happen. But there's a lot of care and sensitivity that needs to go into that as you both take down the walls, okay? Because moving forward impulsively and passionately, it can be another kind of wall, right? It can be like, oh no, we just charge with this feeling of, you know, the passion that's here. And we just move things forward real fast. And then what ends up happening a lot of times in those situations with that Knight of Wands energy? Well, it was good for the night. It was good for the weekend, but it doesn't have longevity, right? No, you know, that's a big step, right? You're totally changing the framework of your connection, all right? So still, stability. You don't want to sacrifice the relationship. I had a wonderful birthday. Thank you. I did. It feels really good. It feels really progressive. Thank you, Arvivo. This is really, yeah, see, but you're in this place, right? Let's bring it in. Let's bring it in, Jer. You're in the place of ambiguity right now. Something else is here. We're not quite sure. Maybe we're this, maybe we're that. You guys are figuring it out. I mean, that's beautiful, right? It's beautiful. There's this new insight. Oh, you're not in this fixed position anymore, right? Well, there's something else here, but I'm not quite sure what it is. And I don't know how it looks quite yet. And I'm not quite sure how to move forward, but I just know something else is here. That's beautiful. That's an opening. You're in a process of discovery. You're not meant to have it all figured out yet. So open to it sensitively, right? And same with them on the other side of that equation, right? You don't know what it is right now. Excellent. Belief constructs out the window. Set ideas out the window. Fixed positions out the window. We're in a creative process now. Anything can happen. That's the energy of this lunar cycle. That's the energy we're working with. And as we move into that sphere, we bump up against everything that like threatens our security. Ooh, this doesn't feel safe because I don't know what to label it. I don't know what to call it. I don't know what I'm experiencing here. Ooh, I don't know how much I should open up to this. This is so good. It feels disruptive, right? It feels awkward. It feels weird. It brings up fears. It brings up our issues with security. It makes us want to protect ourselves. Is it going to work out? Is it not? What does it mean? What does it mean? I don't know what it means. You don't know what it means. They don't know what it means. None of us know what it means yet. We're just meant to open to it. Wow. Get into this spirit more like, wow, this is really wild. I don't know what they are anymore. I used to know what to call them. No, I don't. Wow, this is kind of cool. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. But there's something really beautiful happening here. It's a creative process. And it's activated in me for a reason, because there's something in me that wants to open up to this exploration. And how awesome is that? And that's what it's about. You know, that's what it's about. Well, you're hearing a call. You're hearing a call, Jer, and they're hearing the call too. And your energies are dancing with each other. And you're feeling this energy. It's a movement, but it's not defined yet. And you're not meant to rush and slap a definition around it. That's the energy. Just be open to it. Let it work its magic, okay? It's beautiful. Something comes out of it. This is what we need to, you know, override with this lunar energy. It'll happen, okay? Just as soon as you start to like open up to it, like, okay, I don't know what it is. And wow, isn't this interesting? I don't know what it is. And as I don't know what it is, that kind of stresses me out. When I don't know what to label it, now, oh gosh, I don't know what to think about this. That's the energy. None of us know anything right now. We're in brand new territory. It's beautiful and it's disruptive and it's amazing and it's innovative. And as we just say, okay, I don't know, fuck it. I don't know, but all I know is it's speaking to me energetically on some level. It's drawing me in. It's like, hey, come here. There's something here. You don't get to know what it is yet. You got to be part of the creative process. I used to talk to a friend, Annabelle, about this. We used to talk about this partnership. That's what's coming forward. Everything is moving into partnership. It's a creative process. Our relationships are moving out of static framework into creative play space. This applies across the board, not just romantically, but in our friendships and in our working relationships and how we relate to everything. It's a play space. It can be anything we want it to be. I love you too. And thank you for bringing that piece in, because this relational piece is very important right now with Libra in the South Node and Aries in the North Node. It's that thing. It's the dance between Venus and Mars. Venus and Mars. It came in earlier on the Freya download. Venus and Mars, love and war. It's this energy, you know? But we're meant to find the center balancing point within that. That's the unifying point. It's not all one or the other. We need both. So when you feel that, when you feel like the confusion come in, just know, oh, I feel confused, or I feel uncertain, or I'm feeling like I need to define it, right? I need to label it. It's this. This is what it is. When you find yourself moving into those places, you just say, hey, I don't need to rush to define it. It's okay. I'm in a creative process. And as soon as you do that, you invite expansion into the mix that makes a whole new set of circumstances, opportunity come into view. It's really beautiful energy, all right? Yeah, look, that's the judgment. And a lot of people are having this happen too, right? We're having a lot of people from our past are coming back around the bend. A lot of people are being reunited, or they're looking at old relationships in a new way. You know, they're having a new vision. 9 months single. Yeah. There's a lot of people that are in that space too. They've been single for a long time. There's a lot of people that have chosen to be celibate. You know, I'm encountering so many people that are in this space. Okay. I'm going to put that up. I think it's important. Okay. Because these are the things that are in play right now. This is significant. This is significant. And if you're going to heal something like this, which some people are called to heal stuff like this, even if it's just to have like a closure, right? Or come to an understanding or have some kind of peace, we have to be mindful of these are things that we're healing right now that we need to move through with sensitivity and awareness. And wherever you can within a process like that, I do encourage having support in place, you know, whether it's like somebody that's like a trusted ally that really knows your history with this person, that can be a sounding board, that kind of can keep you very focused, very on track as you move through this, whether that is having counseling or a support group. There can be free support groups too, okay? So it doesn't even have to be something that has to be limited by financial resources you have available to you. It's important, okay? Because with a healing process like that, there can be a reason why you have certain walls up, all right? So I'm not saying that it's not valuable to go through a healing process in situations like that. And you don't know what it'll be yet, you know, but a lot will come to light through the process. But this is why it's so important to move with sensitivity. And yes, some people are doing this. They're healing old toxic cycles, or they got a relationship coming back around the bend where maybe there is a really there's a brutal history to it, right? And so there is this need, if there's going to be a healing, if there's going to be a restoration, or if there's even going to just be an understanding and coming to a place of closure, peace, you know, healing looks different for everybody. It doesn't always necessarily mean like, oh, we're going to get back together again, or our future is going to look like this. You don't know what it's going to be. A healing is a cathartic process that's a creative energy put in motion. You don't know how it'll turn out. But if you're feeling soul called to it, you're answering that call, it's significant, okay? Because there's an empowerment that can come forward with it, but you do have to be mindful. And there's a lot of this coming back around the bend, and for some of us, it's a test. It's an initiatory gateway, and we got to be mindful of this too. Are we going to make the same choices we made in the past? Is this old person going to come around, and are we going to find ourselves acting out of these old, outworn ways of being that we know don't work for us and lead us down, down that rabbit hole into really dysfunctional behaviors and codependency and unhealthy patterns? Or are we going to address this in a new way and really look at everything we've learned, all the growth we've experienced, and stand from that place in empowerment? And sometimes that's all it's about, being witnessed in your new place of empowerment and holding that line. And wow, it's potent, okay? So this is why you need to be sensitive, patient. Do not rush anything, especially in a circumstance like that, okay? Yeah, and it's wise. Sometimes it's wise to hold back. I'm healing a lot of that too, and I'm celibate, healing over here. Me too. I find it very empowering. I'm really enjoying not spilling out my energy in that way right now. And I'm realizing what an empowerment it is, and it's making me look at my expression of sexuality in a whole new way too. And it's giving me a whole new relationship to it and what it means to me now. And what level do I want to connect with somebody like that? You know what I'm saying? It's a potent way to go. And there's a lot of people that are making that choice right now. So slowly, sensitively, don't feel like you have to rush, okay? Use your judgment. You don't want to throw away the past, okay? It's like keep the lessons from the past, but throw away the attachment to the past, right? Yes, it does. It makes you feel stronger. It's actually factual. When you withhold the expression of that sexual energy, It builds the ojas in the body, the vital life force energy in the body. So it can be very empowering. And then when you do decide, all right, it's time for me to connect on that level, then you're really like connecting in a way that it really means something, you know? It's special. And there's an intimacy there. And there's this beauty in opening up to that experience that takes it, you know, out of the realm of just hooking up, right? There's something more profound happening in that connection. So take your time, okay? It's okay to take your time, collective. You don't need to rush. What's meant for you will always be for you. And if anybody tells you it's going to leave, if you don't make up your mind right now and you don't jump on it, oh, that ain't it. Good. Thank you for letting me know. I almost went in that direction and really could have screwed me up. You know, anybody who's pushing you when you're laying down a boundary line, you're saying, I need to be gentle about this. I need to open into this very gently, you know, can be difficult. I think it's beautiful. Well, get into that courting energy. You know what I'm saying? I like this energy, actually. What's wrong with this? This is sexy in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, our minds are meeting and merging. We're having deep spiritual conversations. We're resonating on this deeper undercurrent. That's hot. You know what I'm saying? That's hot. Let that energy build. Like, let it build. And then if you do take it that level when it feels like it's time. And if that feels like what needs to happen and you're both ready for it, right? Fireworks, man. Enjoy the sweet seduction of that. Enjoy the buildup of the anticipation. Like, people have lost that peace. We're such an instant, you know, gratification society that we always feel like, I need it now. I want it now. But it's like, it's hot. And see, you've been doing it. So, but you're still in this place of questioning. So even though it's still luring you, there's still a little part of you. You're not quite there yet, right? You're not quite there yet. That's okay. You'll know when it's time. You'll know when it's time because you'll be like, yes. It's one of those things where it's like, you know what you know when you know it. When it's time, yes. And when I'm speaking of these things, refraining from the sexual connection, can that even be done in the framework of a committed relationship? Absolutely. You can say, I think we need to work on other areas of our relationship. We're having challenges with our communication. We're having challenges with this. We're having challenges with that. Maybe we need to pull our energy back from this aspect of our relationship right now and instead pour our energy into meeting each other on this level, intellectually, emotionally, as friends. You see what I mean? So it doesn't even, this choice to refrain from engaging in this way doesn't even have to be in the framework of, I'm single as a Pringle, I'm all alone, and so I'm making this choice. It can even happen dynamically within relationship. It can be a powerful catalytic tool to work with in relationship. Yeah, covering energy. Look at that. Boom. Then things get moving. Once you open up to the process and you're like, well, okay, I don't have to have this resolved right now, but I'm just open to this creative process. This is pretty cool. Now you move forward. Look at that. Knight of Swords. This is communication. You know, this is declaration of feelings. This is a meeting of the minds. And this does get things moving forward because now we're not so protected over, you know, communicating these things. We're willing to open up communication. And that is a whole other avenue that brings forward motion. You know, this can be declarations of love coming through. Now, this may be what happens for the collective, okay? There may be a declaration of love that comes through. Maybe somebody starts like opening up their communication and they finally tell you, I've been holding this in for so long. I want you to know how I feel. You may be kind of compelled to move forward really rapidly with that. You may feel like, well, they told me this, so now I have to move forward or else I'm going to miss my opportunity. No. You can still move within this framework and go, wow, thank you for sharing this for me. And you can share what you feel in relation to what they brought up, and you can express your feelings too. And then you can say, well, let's sit with this. I want to move forward with you really conscientiously around this, because this is important. Let's not rush this. This is a lot, you know. How long did it take you to, you know, bring this communication forward? And now I'm receiving it, and wow, you know, this brings up stuff in me too. And you can keep this beautiful openness there and this beautiful exploration there that still builds the energy. It doesn't cut it off, you know. I love that. I think that's beautiful. You brought forward your vulnerability. You see? Just let it continue to develop. You'll know what to do when it's time. You're already in the process, okay? That looks really good. That looks really good. Let's see these cards that came out here. We got final little bit of information coming through. Yeah, look at this. It's that Spear of Lu energy. It's when you speak your truth, you act on your truth, then it unites, right? With the passion, the purpose. And now you got air and fire working forward, you know, together to create a new avenue to bring this thing into being. And there's crossing energy over this. And what's the energy? Oh, I love how it comes through because it's building on what came in the Freya read earlier. Remember, I talked about the cauldron of Dagda that those of us who are questing for the 4 jewels of the Tuatha De Danann are working through right now. It's about marrying Froggerach, the first jewel of the Tuatha De Danann, which is the sword of truth, but it only has power once you pull it from its sheath, which means you have to move forward with this energy. You have to communicate your truth. You have to speak it into existence. By you doing that, you're taking action, okay? Which marries the air element with the fire element. Isn't this ironic? What do we got going on in South Node? Air energy, Libra energy. What do we got in North Node? Aries energy, fire energy. This is the initiation point, right? This gets things moving. And then you take that Spear of Lu, and what do? You take that Spear of Lu, and it goes into the cauldron, and it's the impregnation point. Now you're marrying it with passion, purpose, and emotional connection, the nurturing to make this thing grow. Well, what are we working on here? Healing the past. 808, oh my gosh, you know that number has been coming in here for a while. 808 means this is the right track. This means it's an angel number that means you're on the right track. Even though you haven't totally found the way forward yet, you're on the right track. Keep going. Because 808 can also be like not found, sight not found, okay? So you're not quite sure the particulars yet, the steps yet, right? But you're on the right track. Keep going, okay? I love you too. This also is Leo energy, okay, with the strength here. But this is about understanding that as we enter in these processes, look at this Empress energy. That's very much that Queen of Pentacles energy, is that pre-Empress energy. How do we deal with these challenges of the past, the beasts of burden of the past, the things that we've been afraid of that has held us back in the past in terms of healing our relationships? We have to understand that where there's anger, or where there's any kind of activation or this desire to push, make things happen, or controlling energy, we're dealing with fears, okay? We're dealing with wounds. And so there's a need to be very gentle and reestablish trust in these situations, because you notice that the Empress is able to put her hand in the lion's mouth. Blockage around the throat, just as I brought this in. What needs to be talked about is very sensitive. It's not easy to talk about the ugly stuff, right? It's not easy to take the stuff that was swept under the rug and bring it to the surface. Okay, let's communicate about these things. So there's this piece where it's like the Empress is saying, okay, up and out with it. You can talk about this. It's okay. We can look at what's ugly. We can look at our fears. We can look at where we feel afraid. We can look at what is you know, sensitive for us, or what we're afraid, if we bring that up again, oh no, is this going to put a wall between us again? Okay. And we can make it safe to do this. How? Gently. And that's why sometimes it's a process where it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Because as you enter a process, especially where there's history, it can be like, oh, well, you brought this piece in and now that's really activated me. You know what I mean? It can be activating. And you don't want to like shut down the opportunity or shut down the healing process or the communication, but there still can be a need to go, okay, I hear your truth. I hear your truth. And I understand, you know, your piece here. And yet I feel a little activated right now. So I'm still open to this. I'm not going anywhere. I'm committed to this process. Do you see how this encourages trust, safe space? Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not shutting you down. I'm not abandoning you. But this is activating something in me. And so I don't want to speak to you from this place of activation. I'm just going to take a little space to get clear on what I'm feeling and formulate my thoughts. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to reach out to you and we'll continue this communication, okay? This is the work. It can be like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But we know with strength here, there's not only the mutual commitment and the willingness, but there's also the ability to overcome these challenges, okay? It's really beautiful. Yeah, it's reaching that clarity and understanding that it takes time. It may not happen overnight. And where we want things to move forward and where we can get frustrated when something's moving at a snail's pace, really slow, we can find comfort in that when we remind ourselves of this. See? You know, and it's okay. You're right on track. 808, you're right on track. Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing, okay? Because this is what you need to understand. You're setting yourselves free. Devil energy. This is what you're overcoming. You're breaking the chains of the old story. You're breaking the links to the patterns, right? The unhealthy patterns, the things that kept this in this position before, where it wasn't healthy, where it was the ties that bind, instead of coming together in this beautiful, mutually supportive connection. Where there was an imbalance of power in the past, you're finding the way to share power. And it's especially significant in any relationship where you had that kind of a connection, where somebody had power over the other, where there wasn't a balance of giving and receiving, or where there were any kind of codependent patterns. In healing codependency or in healing addictive qualities within relationship, there's always the need to do this dance. First of all, practicing nonviolent communication, which means you have something sometimes in communication that can help. We'll use this as an example. I like to use this. This is a talking stick. So you meet to talk about the difficult stuff, right? Sometimes you can have a mediator or a therapist if you want to go that route, but not everybody wants to go that route, and it's not always necessary. But if you can establish nonviolent communication with each other where you're like, okay, we're going to talk about the really rough stuff that we don't want to talk about, the ugly stuff, and I know you probably got a lot of stuff you got to say to me, and it might be really charged. I might not want to hear it, but I know I need to hear it, and I know you need to have it witnessed, and I respect that. We're going to hold space for all of it. When you're holding this, I keep my mouth shut. It's not time for me to talk. It's just time for me to listen and hold space and witness you and your truth. So when the person's holding whatever you're using as the talking stick, it doesn't have to be this. It could be a cup of coffee. If you like herb, it can be a peace pipe. You know what I'm saying? Whoever's got the mic, they got the floor, right? The other person is not allowed to say a word in response. They are to let the person say everything that they have to say. And when the person is done, they will let them know by saying, okay, that's all I needed to say. I've said everything I've needed to say. And at that point, the person can hand the wand, the cup of coffee, the pipe, whatever, back to you. And then it's the person who received the truth, who was the listener, then it's their responsibility to say, I heard you say, okay, I heard you say, and the reason why you say this is You're not supposed to speak in statements of, well, you did this and you said this and I know you felt like this, but you made me feel like. Then you're moving into combative communication. There's no way to work through that. So that's why the person then receives the truth, and now they have the stick and they say, what I heard you say is, you feel this, you feel this, you feel this, you feel this, you feel this. Is that correct? Okay. And then you hand it back over to that person. They go, oh no, you got it all wrong. That's not how I feel at all. I actually feel like this. So you let them clarify, okay? Or they'll say, yes, that's accurate. That's how I feel about it. And then they pass it back to you and you say, would you like feedback from me? Would you like to hear my feelings in relation to this? Now, here's where it gets touchy. Because in nonviolent communication, after you ask the question, you hand it back to them and they go, no. Nope. I don't want to hear how you feel about it. I just needed you to witness it. And that's where I'm at right now. That may change down the road. It may not. But this is where I am right now. And then they hand it back to you and you go, okay. So do you understand how a process like this can, then you may feel very activated by that. Well, you just dropped all this stuff on me and now I'm not allowed to tell you how I feel about it. Nope. You got to respect the boundary. That's what nonviolent communication is about. And that's why it can be this dance of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, where you have to go, oh, okay, hold on a minute. Okay, well, now that you gave me this back, okay, I respect that. You put down the boundary. But now I have some things I need to sit with and sort with. So I need a little space. And when I'm ready to talk and share my piece with you, I will share my experience of what's activated in me right now. And I hope that you'll be willing to hold that. Okay? So that's the way it works, all right? It's very potent. It's very potent work, but it's what's necessary when we're doing this work. Because you're dealing with the devil. You're dealing with the fears. You're dealing with the imbalances of power. And this is how you get free. But look what happens. Ace of Cups. Okay? It's what brings the new beginning in love. And we know that once we start to pour into this, it's an inexhaustible flow of nourishment. And then all things grow from this. Okay, so this is beautiful new beginnings in matters of the heart, all right, as well. So we know that what we're entering in right now, it's a beautiful process, not only individually and in our relationships, but also collectively in our community and the greater picture as a whole, how we move forward on a global level. It's productive. This is good energy, okay? But it requires a proper foundation. I'm going to do a cut of the deck, and we're going to call this good and call it a night because I need to eat some dinner. Oh, look at this. 10 of Cups. Boom. 10 of Swords. Look at that. This is what we're dealing with. We got to bring the old cycle to a close. We got to recognize the old ways don't work. We got to move forward in a new way. We got to put a fork in it. It's done. And in closing the old cycle, we step into this beautiful potential that's waiting there for us on the other side. The promise of what happens when we bring the old way to a close and we're willing to step into something new and do that creatively. I love it. It's a beautiful read. It's beautiful energy. So I hope you all enjoy working with it. Before I sign off here, any questions or anything anybody wants to bring in before I close this out? And then I'm going to go and make myself, I think I'm going to make myself some chili again. I'm going to make chili for dinner tonight. Ah, yes. I'm just looking at these past comments here. Yeah, Jared, I think you're right on track, you know. I think you're right on track, you know. Just keep at it and just be okay with it being sort of like a little ambiguous right now, or, you know, not knowing how it's going to turn out or the way it's going to roll out. I mean, you're in a very creative process right now. It's beautiful. And I love that you're taking your time with it and that you're you know, staying, you know, present with the kind of like awkward bits, the uncomfortable bits, because that's what it's about. I mean, anytime we grow, right, we have growing pains. We have growing pains. It's part of it. You know, just like when you were a kid and, you know, you were getting taller and you were really coming into your own, like you'd have those growing pains, right? It's the same thing. But there is so much positive energy coming forward in this lunar cycle too, where what's different about the way we're moving forward now is it's like, yes, we have to do the work. Yes, we have to put structure in place. Yes, everybody has to do the work. There's no way to escape that. We have to be accountable. But what's present right now that wasn't present in the old cycle is now we got the light building. You see? Now we got the creativity is coming in. Now we got healing coming in. Now we're coming into alignment with our soul family. We're having soulmates show up on our path. Now we're actually in the process of it. Instead of just thinking like, gosh, I really wish I could heal that. Now we're doing it. Now we're actively engaged in it. There's movement that comes forward. And in this cycle, a lot of solutions that are inspired, that are mused, a lot of beautiful awakening energy, okay? But it takes work too. So it's in tandem. But do be inspired because there's a lot of light building right now. And I think you're doing great. And I think I'm going to leave it off at that note. So enjoy this lunar cycle and make the most of it. And just open yourself up, open your mind, be open to the experiences that come your way. Be willing to get a different view, move into this energy. And I think you'll find that there's a lot of blessing that comes onto your path. And thank you for dropping in with me. Thank you to all the subscribers. Thank you to all of you who contributed to the conversation. All of you showed up. All of you who make the replay. Lots of love to you. And I wish you many insights, inspirations, and positive momentum forward as you move through this cycle. And I'll be back on Tuesday. I'll see y'all then. Take care.